Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Bonus Points podcast. I'm your host Joe Garrett, as always being joined by Ollie Guy.
Hello.
Hello Ollie, and very happy today because we have a special guest. We have Stacy Plays joining us for the episode.
Hello, thanks for having me.
You are very, very welcome. So for those of you that don't know Stacy, I've known Stacy for the vast majority of my YouTube career. We met I feel like we were both pretty early on within the first kind of couple years of doing YouTube full time, would you say?
Yeah.
We crossed paths. But yeah, Stacy, long time YouTuber, streamer, now author as well.
Oh, right.
Am I missing any of your achievements?
I have the books here, actually.
Oh, yes. Oh. Show them. I'd like to see them. Well, there we go. Oh, you've got those books, right, Joe?
I do.
Yes,
I got them up on display in my house.
There you go. I recognise them.
And a new book coming out soon as well, right?
Next summer. Yeah, summer 2023.
And that has been announced, hasn't it?
Yes.
Just looking,
you heard it here
first. You had told me in confidence or I've just ruined anything.
Yeah, no. It just got announced. So I'm excited. It's like the first series is over and now it's like a spin-off of the books. So they're called Rescue Tales, but it's TAILS because it's about rescuing animals.
Of course. And you're a big animal lover.
I am. I have a dog and I have 2 cats. So they're cousins with your pets, I think.
Yeah. I knew when I was asking you for what game you'd choose, I was like, which animal will be in the game that I'm asking?
Well, actually, it's interesting because when I was a kid, I always loved dogs and cats, but before that, I loved dinosaurs. That was I wanted to be a paleontologist. I was always digging up our backyard. So that's why I'm obsessed with this game.
Yeah, I was going to say, which came first? Was it you played the game and that kind of made you fall in love with dinosaurs?
No. Because I'm old. So this game, well,
you were around with the dinosaurs. You were among them.
Exactly.
I love these guys.
Late Cretaceous.
I miss them. They don't exist anymore.
No. All I mean is that this game came out in 1995, but Jurassic Park came out in 93. And I loved dinosaurs even before that. I think I had a book that I carried with me. And so I was just always fascinated by dinosaurs. They're fascinating, right? And so this was I don't think I even played this in 1995. I think what happened was my cousin had gotten an N64 and then gave me his Super Nintendo. And so I probably got this game a couple years after it was released.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on the did dinosaurs have feathers or did they not?
Well, yeah, no, they're definitely if you've ever looked at a creepy bird, that's a dinosaur, right?
You can see it.
Yeah, you could totally see it. Where I live up in the mountains and there's wild turkeys everywhere, especially at this time of year. You'll just be driving down the road and then 30 turkeys will cross. And it's that's a herd of dinosaurs. 100%.
Well, I used to know your great-great-granddad.
Yeah.
Can we go way back?
Whippersnappers.
Okay. All right.
Anyway,
youngins.
Before we get too deep into turkey talk, Ollie, do you want to kind of just set up what the game is that we're going to be chatting about for those that don't know?
Sure. So this is the beginning of the Wikipedia entry. Is Super Mario World 2: Yoshi's Island is a 1995 platform game developed and published by Nintendo for the SNES. Player controls Yoshi, a friendly dinosaur, on a quest to reunite baby Mario with his brother Luigi, who has been kidnapped by Kamek. And this is the oldest game that we've done.
Yes,
27 years old.
But by a decent margin, because PS1 was was probably Ty or Harry Potter or something. Is the only ones.
Well, they were PS2, but yeah.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So by a big jump. So, is this your favorite game? Would you say?
Yeah, I think so. I sent you another option that was on the Atari, and that was it was neck and neck between the Atari Adventure and Yoshi's Island. Was that a question to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was my favorite game, right? Because I had a Game Boy when I was a kid, that my mom made me call a Game Girl.
I was just gonna say, you never call it a Game Boy.
Yeah, I had a Game Girl. Oh, gender. And yeah, I had Mario games, but I just loved this game because it was just such a different take. Like, it's always Princess Peach has been captured. She's in a different castle. Like,
Yeah.
what's Bowser gonna do? And so I just loved that this was just kind of like a totally different spin on it. And like, I always wanted to know more about Yoshi. And so like the idea that there was this island filled with different colored Yoshis, like a pink Yoshi and a brown Yoshi and a blue Yoshi. It was just exciting to me. Like, I love lore. That's like what I love about Minecraft. Like, I'm always like, but who built the stronghold? Like, why is there a library? Like, who's reading the books? So this was right up my alley.
So Yoshi, is Yoshi a character or like a species? Like, what's the deal with Yoshi then?
Right? I mean, it kind of blew open what I thought at the time, because I think in the intro they say that there are Yoshis.
Yeah.
Yeah, so his full name is T. Yoshi Saw Muncher Cooper.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, and okay, sorry, I read ahead on the article and I was like, and he has no friends, like he's got loads of friends, but it actually says Bowser conquered the Mushroom Kingdom because he couldn't stand the fact that he had no friends.
Oh,
so
okay.
Apparently that's something else. But yeah, Yoshi Saw Muncher Cooper, who I guess is the species. But what does the T stand for?
I wonder if it's a like Pikachu, because like Pikachu's Pikachu, but then there's also like there's loads of Pikachus that are also Pikachu.
I mean, the real question is what kind of dinosaur is Yoshi, right? Like, has that been answered?
I don't know. I mean, what do you? You're the expert here.
You're the expert. Yeah, it's your time.
I mean, could be like, well, you don't want to think of him as a carnivore, right?
Well, he eats a lot of. He threw up. He was quite a massacre was caused on my place.
So maybe he's like an Allosaurus. Maybe, I don't know.
You're gonna have to tell us what that is. I think I don't think we're as deep in the dinosaur lore as you.
It's a
like a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Or like a
yeah,
like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Maybe he's a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I don't know.
And also can turn into a helicopter and a submarine and a little car as well.
Oh, yes.
Okay, let's jump into like what this game is. So obviously everyone watching the video podcast has seen gameplay on screen. Probably after watching for a minute, you're like, yeah, I know what this game is going to be. But it's quite unique in terms of, like, I guess if you are considering it in the Mario world. I think the first thing that everyone notices and talks about is the art style. I think especially for the time, there wasn't really a style like that. It's all kind of hand-drawn painterly style. Like, do you know, is there like a proper word, Ollie, that artists use for like kind of that type of style in digital artwork?
Probably would have said painterly, which you've already said. And it was actually hand-drawn and then traced over with pixels. So that's why it looks like so good. They actually really hand-animated it and then went in and traced over it. Because
I was reading a bit that it kind of came... Because Donkey Kong had the Rare's Donkey Kong had just come out, Donkey Kong Country, and that was obviously using like pre-rendered like CG, what looked very high detailed and like ultra realistic at the time, and then that was kind of the trend, and then they just really wanted to be like, this is one last hurrah for like 2D like hand-drawn artwork, and which is kind of why they ended up deciding to go with this art style. And I think it's aged like a million times better than anything else that was considered like high tech at the time. Is that like what kind of drew you into the game, or because it kind of you just put it in your SNES and didn't really worry about it until you started playing?
I'd been playing on the little tiny Game Girl for so long, and so I think I upgraded. I think I had it in my bedroom, and it was like on a 10-inch screen, like one of those old kind of projector TV VHS combos. And I would also I have to say, like, this game kind of, it was like really special to me in a way, because I was going through all of these kind of like life, like my parents had gotten a divorce. I'd moved cross country. I'd started a new school. And so this game kind of became like my little after school. I'd go up into my room with a snack and I'd play and actually playing through it on my Switch now. I don't think I had that instant rewind situation. And so like it was a hard game to beat as like a 12-year-old or 11-year-old or something. So it was a considerable chunk of my life. It wasn't like a weekend, you know what I mean? Like I played this game probably for months trying. It
was a hard game for a 30-year-old man to beat with the rewind feature.
So it was a big chunk of my time, and so definitely like the art style and the music, it just kind of it makes me feel so nostalgic now. But like at the time, I think it was so much more entertaining than other games because just like it was just so pretty and just kind of fun.
Yeah,
we had a comment from Jacob Bosage on YouTube who actually pointed out that it was intended to be made like for younger kids. That's why it looks like it does. But in adding like all of this like interesting things, they've actually made it like really hard. Yeah. And I reckon it might even be like one of the hardest 2D Mario games. Yeah. Because like this game was not hard. Playing around. It was pretty tricky. I had the rewind on my Switch, but I only used it twice because I was like, I want to do it properly.
Wow.
And there was two really annoying things, and I was like, I have to rewind. So there was one where because I'm quickly going to go into this, but you can lose Baby Mario, right? You got to get him back. I had 30 health, and someone took Baby Mario and jumped through a gap in the wall, and I was like, I can't get through the gap, and that's 30. And I was like, I'm rewinding. And the other one was there's this room full of tiles you have to break to get up to the top, and you only have 6 eggs. And I was like, if you don't do it in 6, what do you do? So I was like, I'm just going to rewind and keep doing it until I get through. But
that's impressive. I used the rewind button constantly when I replayed it because I was already like, I've already done this. I already beat it.
Exactly, you did it. You
got the medal.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I think the mechanics are like super creative, and I think it comes down to the fact that I just think that Kamek, he's like such a better villain than Bowser, right?
Yeah.
Because like Bowser's just big and powerful, and so every boss fight, it's like you just gotta, button mash to kill him. But Kamek's a magician, so he can do it. He's a wizard. He can do anything. Yeah. So it was always like, what's he gonna do? No one knows.
Yeah, and like throughout the whole game as well, it's not like, or maybe one pre-boss fight and then a boss fight. Like at the end, like, in every world, you'd have like 2 big encounters with him and him enchanting something. Can we go on to the boss fights? Because I think they're like the best part of the game, right? These are like incredibly good and like varied boss fights. We go with you first, Ollie. Were there any like kind of like standout ones, or just any general comments you want to make about them?
Yeah, there was my favorite boss that I can't remember the name of, and I didn't want to look it up because in my head he's called like Butt Naked Bertie or something. Right. And he's like the big yellow blob with the trousers on, and every time you shoot him his trousers fall down a little bit. And then when you beat him his trousers come all the way off, and I was literally like, because I was streaming it and I was like, oh, there's no way this is going to happen. And then it came all the way off, and I was like, oh, like, I don't want to look like. I think he's called like Bashful Bertie or something. I can't remember, but he's quite early on. I think he's like 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Stacy? Any favorite bosses?
Yeah, I don't know what his name is either, but I like the one where he makes this giant frog and then you get swallowed into the frog and you have to attack his uvula. Yeah. It was just like so many different little things like that, where what I liked about the boss fight was like the moment where you have to kind of work it out, like the puzzle of what exactly is this guy's weakness, instead of it just being like, well, it's Bowser and you gotta, get past him on the bridge kind of a thing. But yeah, the frog uvula one.
The voice, well, not voice acting, the like text boxes that come up, like the translation's really bad on them, but they're meant to tell you how to defeat the boss. And like the one you can see it is you fight a piranha plant that's got like a big belly button, and the text box says like, Yoshi, you cutie without a navel, which is like doesn't mean anything. But what he's meant to be saying is like, look at the navel of this boss and you can see the weak point. But for ages I was like, cutie without a navel? Like, is that a saying that like I've never heard before? But I think all the bosses are like, yeah, they kind of give you a little hint of what to do.
Well, what I like
Before
was,
we
so
fight
we
them.
recently did Death Stranding on the podcast, and one of my complaints was saying that like all of the gameplay is in one style. It's all about like moving packages. But then the boss fights would just be like shooting, and it'd be just like a normal shooting. But you don't shoot like throughout the game really at all, apart from the bosses, and it just doesn't line up. Whereas on this, it's always kind of like some sort of twist on like enemies you're faced before. Like there's like the giant ghost one I really enjoyed, where like if you're facing them, you can't hurt them, so you got to face away, which is something you've been doing anyway. Then you got to like bounce like the eggs off the wall. And then there's the one that's kind of a bit like Mario Galaxy, where I think it's like a penguin. You're on like a moon, and you can like
Raven.
run the whole way around,
raven.
and you got to like push the post down. But pushing those posts down is something you've been doing the whole game through. So it's always it's not like, oh, we're going to add like a brand new mechanic for a novelty boss. It's all the mechanics and things that you've been doing, but then just used in like really like smart, creative ways. Like I was always looking forward to the bosses when I got to them.
I think,
no, I don't think that the bosses ever got kind of old. It was always like, wow, they really, did something fresh for this. I remember when that was that zoom out of the planet, I was like, little kid me was just like, oh my gosh.
I think a lot of the bosses were like, because they had a new, not to get too deep into the nerdiness of this, but they had a new chip.
Oh, the Super FX2 microchip! Here
the
it
Super
comes!
FX2 microchip,
And
and all of the bosses like feature something that the chip could do. So like the rotating planet, before then they couldn't rotate things on the SNES, like that wasn't possible. So they like did the rotating planet because the Super FX chip could do it. Or the one where the piranha plants like moving, like just things like layers of things moving they couldn't do, but then because of this chip they could. So I think they were kind of flexing their muscles a little bit.
And like the hallucinations, which are so cool, because the first one there's like these weird puff things that if you touch or eat them, all the world goes all trippy and colourful and moves. And like normally like that's an effect you'd see, and it'd be like a visual effect, but not the gameplay. But it's the actual platforms are moving up and down, and I love that because it's not like you're taking damage or it's just hindering you. It's like you can carry on playing, but it's just made the level way more difficult, but you can just like keep on going through it. And that was really cool the first time I saw that.
I loved the skiing level too. Like where you're all of a sudden you're on skis. It was so fun.
I have actually got written down. Well, I'll ask you guys. Stacey, you can go first. If it wasn't the skiing level, what was your favourite level?
I mean it was the skiing level. Let me think if I have another favorite.
I can go to Joe.
Okay.
So my favorite, there's one where you got to get like a bunch of keys. You there's like a door in the middle, and then like the path like goes off in different directions, and then like you'd go for a door and you need to get a key in each door, but there'd always be like a little clue for what you're going to be facing through each door. And then like you keep kind of going back in like to the same area to get like further through. And I thought that was just a really smart game and a really good use, because Mario levels are generally like run left to right, avoid enemies, get coins, whereas these levels are much more like puzzle labyrinths, and there's all secrets and different routes you can go through, and you can go through pipes and doors and stuff. And I thought that made a really good use of like the freedom that you get in this game. So that's probably my favorite.
This is classic. It's classic me and Joe, because when you asked me the favorite level, I in my brain went, well, if he asks me my least favorite level, it's that one where there's 4 directions.
No!
And you've got to get yes, my least favorite.
Least favorite? Why?
Because I didn't go get all the keys at first, and so then it's just like you get the key and you're like, great, I can go through this door, and then it's like, no, you needed 2 keys. So then you go back and then you get the second key, and then it's like, no, 3 keys. And
but it's not like it's longer than a normal level. You're just not going in one direction.
No, but there was something like annoying to me about it, where like I forgot which one I had gone to. And so like I didn't do them in the right order maybe. And so then it was like I would go through it again and go, I already got this key. And but I'm not surprised.
There was a level a bit later on that was like that it took me ages to get through it. And then I only noticed in like the last couple of minutes that in the dirt, there's like numbers in the walls. And even when I knew what they were for, I was still like, I don't understand what I'm doing here. Like, I'm just running through doors until...
I remember that level and the numbers. What do the numbers do?
I don't know.
Okay.
I was just like, I'm just gonna keep running through doors till I
Do you
get
remember
out.
this one, Stacey?
Yeah,
it was
no,
like
I think
quite
it was
later
kind of
one.
like elevator floors. Like I think that was like
There was a lot of like going through doors and pipes to
Yeah.
different areas and stuff, and
I liked
those
that
enemies that
level.
like steal your little Mario away and run off with him, and like in that
God, I hate
area.
those guys. I hate those guys. It's really weird. So I've written down my favorite level, but I've written down the name of it, so you might not remember it. But it's called Shifting Platforms Ahead, and it was one of those ones where the camera just constantly moves. But I actually really like those levels. They're my
I
favorite
hate
ones.
auto-scrollers.
They're my absolute favorite because I think like they've been designed in a way where someone's thought like they know how fast you're going, so therefore everything.
No,
is
they don't,
designed
because my nose
perfectly,
is always
like-
poking up against the edge because I'm so impatient, and then I run into an enemy because I can't see it. And they also emphasize one of my problems with the game, and I think the art is somewhat to blame. I think the view is too zoomed in. And obviously, it kind of needs to be to have that level of detail in the artwork. It just, there's still the same amount of pixels as a as a different game. And then the fact that like so many of the enemies, the second they're off screen, like they respawn again. And even like platform paths, like say if a platform scrolling left and right, sometimes I'd see it's getting close and I'd like back off to get a run up. Then I'd come back and it's like reset, and I'm like, oh, like I jumped too far. Or there's like the those piranha plant ones that just like shoot stuff at you, and they take like 3 or 4 hits to kill. And I remember I got one down to 1 kill left, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to run back to eat something to get an egg. And I came back and it had fully healed, and I was like, wow, you were off screen for like half a second and you've just healed. Like, and I get it's probably, it's just a technical limitation. Like, I'm sure they would rather it not be like that, but it's still pretty frustrating.
I noticed that a lot when I was playing it, but I don't remember it being like that. Maybe it's just, rosy kid colored glasses.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't remember it being that bad. But
and some things it does remember when they're off the screen, and some things it doesn't. So you have to be like, oh, is this going to be one that's going to remember? Like,
yeah, I noticed that later on. I think what it is probably like that's how most games were at the time, and now it's like games generally aren't like that, so it stands out now. Whereas back in the day, it's like, yep, that's what games do. And even to like the point where like you need to do it in puzzles. Like you can run out of eggs, and you need those enemies to be back alive. Otherwise, you won't get any eggs, and you need them to carry on. We haven't really properly spoke about the eggs very much because that's like the key mechanic. I know you kind of briefly mentioned it. Did you want to kind of explain, Ollie, like the egg mechanic?
Shall I just quickly do the game rundown like I normally do?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so you run from left to right normally as a Yoshi, carrying a baby Mario on your back, and there's enemies in the way that you can eat and turn into eggs, and then you can throw the eggs. So the throwing aimer thing constantly moves up and down, and you press the button at the right time to throw it. There's like flowers to collect and red coins, and there's also pretty much every level has got its own unique thing to do, and there's 6 worlds. I think there's 6 levels per world.
Yeah, then there's
game.
2 like there's like extra like challenge ones that you can unlock.
Yeah.
Did
I
any
didn't
of
get
you
a single? No, not
Did
a
you,
single
Stacey?
one.
I started because that was originally when I thought, okay, if I'm gonna play it again, I'm gonna play it perfect. And I mean, it's really tough. You've got to get all 5 flowers, and you have to get all of the red coins. I think maybe there's 10 or 20. And then you also have to end the level with your full 30 seconds of Baby Mario being So you have to end the level like that perfectly. And it's not the kind of thing where once you get 5 flowers and you go back and replay the level and you end with
you've got to get them in one run. You got to do everything.
You got to do it in one run.
Man.
So I did it for the first card to unlock the 2, and they weren't really worth it. It was kind of disappointing.
I guess what's nice is, like, say if you think about like young Stacy getting this game, and I'm sure probably like you weren't getting a new game every week, like it's good for like back in the day that, you'd get a game and it'd be like, this is my game for this year. Like, and there's enough content and challenge that I feel like this is a game you could play for years. Just even for like just the difficulty of it and replaying it and trying to get the secret and the amount of just hidden things throughout the level all over the place. Like it feels like it is a game meant to be played over and over and over again. Whereas I feel like today games are much more like complete through, move on, because there's just so many games and so many like free games that you don't need to spend so much time with a single game.
Totally. Like, I think that I got to a point with the music and the style of the game where it didn't matter what level I was on. I just wanted to kind of like jump into that world for like a little bit. I remember I also on my little Game Boy Girl, I would play through, like, I think it was Super Mario 2. I would play through the whole thing in a couple hours just to get the final song. And then I would like listen to the final song for a while because I couldn't just like go on the internet and just play the song. Yeah. And so
can you hum the final song to us so we know, know what it would be like?
It's on YouTube now, and I talked about it like years ago.
Can
all
you
the
hum
comments
it,
like do 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 do.
That's pretty great.
Do 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 do. It's great.
Should we get like our phones out with our torches?
Oh,
and
lighters. Yeah, lighters up.
Not what I wanted to do on this podcast.
You just briefly mentioned, well, someone did, the transformations.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically Josh Iyer, one of our viewers, sent over an advert for this game. It's unbelievable. The advert is crazy, but we'll come back to that later. In the advert, Yoshi changes into a train. And I never saw that in the game.
No, there's a train.
Yeah, but I never saw it. So what do you do? What's the train?
Do you remember it, Stacy?
I don't know. I remember the mole digger, the helicopter, the submarine.
They're the three I had, yeah.
No, then there's the car with the stretchy car legs.
Didn't have that either.
You didn't have stretchy car legs?
Oh, no, I did. Because you lift over loads of enemies, don't you?
Yeah, and like picking up the coins. So the train's weird because it's almost like, I think it's once again using the old Super FX2 microchip. It's like, it's almost like putting you in the background. So you're like really tiny. And then there's like tracks that are really small. And basically you get to a crossroad and you choose whether you go up or down. But the controls didn't work that great on it. And it's just basically you choose a route to get through. Okay. I don't know if it was like a secret area I got to or something.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know if I saw it either. But it does remind me that there was a dog, too. There was, I think, Poochie.
Oh, Poochie, yeah. You just stand on and he just runs.
Oh, yeah.
And he can run on lava somehow.
Yeah. You get him a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember he had quite gross lips and mouth.
He's adorable.
I remember looking at him and being like...
He's like literally the most adorable dog, but okay.
The vehicles thing's weird because it feels like nowadays that would be like Yoshi's Island, like the vehicle trend, like turning into one, or like this is like they always have one core thing. This is the Yoshi game where you do this, or like this is the Kirby game which is like this. But I feel like they're in the game, but they're always like they're not used enough for it to be about that. But then they're all like quite fleshed out and unique, and they're quite, I mean, they're not great, but they're quite like a nice little break, and it's just funny seeing it. But it's just weird how it's like there's no explanation for why Yoshi is turning into a submarine. It's just like we had this idea along with 1,000 other ideas that we put into this game, like we just do it, which is just kind of quite funny because I feel like nowadays you don't get that in the same way for Nintendo. They would flesh out every single idea and polish it perfectly, whereas this is like, I've got an idea and like probably just one person had it, I'm just going to do it and let me put it in the game. What it really reminded me of is Mario Maker, like playing through these levels.
Yeah,
like you really, because they're really, I think the quality is really uneven. I think it's generally good and there's some excellent ones, but there's some awful levels where it's just like, you know, when you do a Mario Maker level and they're just like all of the enemies on screen at the same time. And it's like, it's not fun to play through. It's just they're using everything that they have available to them. And some of the levels where you're like rolling like the rocks down and stuff, where like, once again, if the rocks go off screen, they just disappear and you're like chasing after the rock so it doesn't despawn. Like some of those ones, they feel like subpar Mario Maker levels. Did I don't know, Stacey, did you kind of get the uneven level of quality or did you not notice
the game's perfect. So I didn't get that. No, I mean, I guess
we're not doing the list yet, Stacey. Calm down. At ease. We'll get to that.
Yeah, no, I mean, sometimes, like you said, there's just a lot of different mechanics and it's never one that, I mean, I kind of like that it's just always something new, but it would have been nice to kind of come back to a certain one and get really good at it. Like, I was always really bad when you would get the star and then you would turn into little Mario.
Yeah.
And you would control Mario for a minute and be able to run and then like parachute. Are you parachuting with your diaper?
It's like a cape.
No, it's a
isn't
cape.
it?
It's
Yeah.
a cape from Mario World. Yeah.
I was always really bad at those parts too. So it, yeah, I guess I get what you're saying. I will give it that, but no, it's a perfect game.
Yeah, I think it is a bit uneven, but they don't stick around long enough for it to be a problem. I just breezed past them. I was like, I'm not enjoying this one so much, so I will sprint to the end, and you can get through it in 30 seconds or something. The levels aren't very long, but I did write down there's probably one too many Super Baby Mario sections.
Yeah.
I didn't mind that. Like when you're running up walls and stuff. I feel like I just love everything you guys hate. We're just like the opposite, but like I think they're rare enough that when they came up, I think it's because I found this game so difficult, and and I kept rewind. Like I can't believe that you only rewinded a couple times because the checkpoints are like so spread out, and I'm just
you got midpoint ring, and the start of the level.
Yeah, I know.
To be honest,
did you
levels are so
not
long.
have a problem with lives? Like, did you have enough lives?
I ended with 30 lives.
I at one point had probably 60 or 70 because I was rewinding.
Yeah.
But then I gambled them away on the roulette wheel and I lost a load. So
my god, those bonus games, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and it would be like the rules would be so complicated, and then it would be like, okay, now pick the thing, and then you can choose what you get, and I'd pick it, and it would be like, oh, you lose, and I'd be like, did I get there to end? Every time.
Yeah. And so then we would just be like, pick a random thing. You got the wrong one. It's like, okay, thanks. I'm really glad I got all those sunflowers.
Like plus 20 stars. And it would just be like, so did that carry over into the next level? And then I would forget that I'd even...
You used the power-ups. Did you use the power-ups?
Oh, I used them. I actually forgot I had them. I used them twice.
That's what you get them for. Because I kind of forgot until for a while. That's what you get from those bonuses.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah. So I guess if we try and do it through modern lens. So I think you kind of play more of these 2D platformers, Ollie. I know you put Celeste as one of your favorite games. How much does it hold up today, would you say? Say if this was just released today as an indie darling game, how much do you reckon it kind of holds up?
I think it's kind of hard to judge because it's got Yoshi in it. So that kind of is quite a lot of the appeal, is that it's Nintendo. I was looking at it and I was thinking this is what indie games today are trying to do.
Yeah.
Especially the fact that there's over 100 enemies, and you have that one. There was one room in it where I was like, the quality is so high. It was one where the Shy Guys are passing the bombs and then dropping them down, and you're running underneath. And that's something you'd see in an indie game now. I think sometimes the jumping and the floating is a little bit inconsistent. They can't really tell always if it's going to work or not. But apart from that, this could have come out, in the last couple of years easily.
Yeah.
It's so much. There's so much going on in this game. I've thought it was very good. Even against other Mario games, this holds up. It kind of made me think that other Mario games are a bit up themselves. They're a bit uppity. They're a bit well, we've got the walking enemy and it's a Goomba and that's the one we use. Whereas this game's we've got 80 different walking enemies because they're funny. And they look funny, they do funny things.
Yeah. They got the Shy Guys as Shy Guys on stilts and all the different
and they're wearing trainers on their stilts.
Yeah. I'm trying to think I don't know if maybe you can remember better, Stacy, but for 1995, do you have a sense for the other types of game that were coming out around then? Because this game feels like it hasn't aged at all, and I'm from its era, I'm trying to think, is this the game which has aged least in this amount of time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I mostly played Mario Kart, which, if you go back and play the Super Nintendo version of Mario Kart, it's just not.
It's awful, yeah. The flat coins, on the track and stuff, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think that, because, even Yoshi's Woolly World, which was, a decade ago maybe or something, it's kind of similar. I think that I think this game holds up pretty good. The Donkey Kong Country games were cute too, I think.
Yeah, I think that was the last one. So I think it was like Donkey Kong Country 3, then it was Yoshi's Island, and then it was Mario 64. So that's kind of where it came out, like among those games. But
I played another game that was called Out to Lunch, which wasn't. I don't think it was. Well, no, it was on Super Nintendo, and it was like you were this little chef, and you were catching vegetables.
I'm gonna look this up because this sounds great.
I'm gonna leave it from just the description.
There were like, I can't remember if the vegetables were mean or if you were trying to make like a pizza or something. That was kind of a weird one.
How did you used to like get your games? Like, how did you end up with Yoshi's Island and Out to Lunch?
Yeah, well, and then I was going to say there's another game called Lester the Unlikely.
I know the one.
You know it?
Okay,
I know
that one, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was my cousin and his kind of like weird taste in games, and then I just inherited the games. But then you would also go to like the CD store. It would have like used games that you could like swap for. I don't know. I don't think I ever went and like bought games when they were released. I think it was always like there's a game. Like I'll, pay $5 for that used game and just hope it works.
Yeah. I feel like you have such a category of games. I'm sure it's not entirely this, and you're going to say like that's not true, but like I feel like I could see a game trailer. I'm like, yeah, that's a Stacy game. Like you have such a type. I don't know if you remember this. And we were lucky enough to be at the, I think is it E3 2017? We were at the press conferences
we went to like
the
Sony one. Yes.
Which was like, it's almost become like a famous one. As when they announced the new God of War and they had the live orchestra, and then they had like the game called Days Gone, which is like all these zombies and there's people like dangling from the stage. And it was like loads of like super violent games, and the crowd were going, wow. And then at the end, you like looked at me, and I can't remember exactly what you said, but something along the lines of like, God, games are really violent, aren't they? Like,
I was so mad during that event because it was this insane event where, like you said, there was a live orchestra. We're in this
like this big
beautiful
theater. It's not in like a conference room or anything. Like it's crazy.
No, it's like it was a fancy type thing, and they would start these game trailers, and it would be like the most beautiful land that you can imagine, and like the sun is shining, and there's mountains and there's birds, and I was like, what's this game gonna be? And then it would be like zombies, blood, like guns, and then all of the crowd would just go like, yeah. And I was just
and then it would say out to lunch too.
Yeah. No, I just kept waiting. Like I was like, sure, okay, I get that everyone's excited about these games. Surely there's going to be one that's just like, and you play as a stag who has to like traverse the countryside. And it was always like you'd see the deer and then just like some alien would eat it or something.
Well, no, it was the God of War trailer. Like the whole thing of the trailer is him teaching his kid to kill a deer. And he's like,
right.
I don't
That's
want to kill the beautiful deer. And he's like, you will, boy, stab it in the neck. It's like...
Yeah, I waited
do you
that
remember
whole
exactly
time.
what your words were at the end? Because I remember it made me laugh. So because I was a bit all like, I mean, I was just so happy to be there, to be honest. Like, I was just like eating it all up and like wide-eyed the whole time. At the end, you're like,
I don't remember what I said.
violent?
It probably had the word testosterone in what I said. And I was just like, no.
Yeah, I don't know why I just randomly started chanting USA at the end. It was so random. I'm not even American. It was weird.
It was like that. It was kind of crazy. And then, I mean, they don't even do those kind of things anymore, I don't think, really.
No.
But it was an experience. It was kind of just to experience like the level of enthusiasm that everyone had for those games. Because that was the other thing, is I went into that not knowing like what games to expect them to announce. And so every single time I was just like, oh, this looks like a pretty game. Like, what's this going to be? And then it was like, a sequel to something that, people have been waiting for like a decade.
You're stuck next to me where I keep whispering like, I think it's this. Oh, I think it might be this. And you're like, okay, all right, settle down. Like,
I do have a type.
me and Joe phone each other during the press conferences and go like, "Oh, I think it's
Yeah.
this." Like when they show the trailers, we're like, "Oh, I think it's this." It's like my favourite game is to guess what they're going to be.
Oh dear. Yeah. So I guess like just to keep on your type of game, like how would you, I guess, you just describe your gaming selection? Because like obviously Yoshi Island I think fits so perfectly like into it, and obviously as I mentioned at the beginning, like a huge animal lover. Like I mentioned that as because that crosses over I think into your game selection. But you obviously you spread out further than that. So I guess like what do you enjoy about gaming?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely the animals part of it, and just having kind of a nice environment in the background. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but it was just like there were so many different, I guess, biomes in Yoshi's Island.
Yeah.
The same way that there are in other games that I love, where you'd be like, oh, look, there's like pine trees behind us now. Or like, oh, we're in a cave underground and there's prisms and stalactites. And so I like kind of pretty environments, the animals. Like, I don't know. I got like a little sense of excitement every time you ended the level and Yoshi passed off Baby Mario to the next Yoshi. Like, even just something as stupid as being like, what Yoshi's? Oh, it's the orange one. Yeah. Like, what's that going to be like? And then it's, spoiler, it's the same Yoshi. Like, they can't do anything different, but it was always in my head, like,
they
oh my gosh, light
slider.
Blue Yoshi. I think light blue Yoshi's faster.
The little, even the little animals on the stage, you don't even get that in Mario now. Like the newer Mario games don't even include the 2D ones anyway. Like a little bird will fly off from in front of you, or like a little mouse will be jumping around.
Yeah.
Really
And like in the
like
backgrounds as well. There's sometimes like other planes where you can see like little things running around like in the background, and like some of the levels are like if it's like a sunset or something, like it will be the most beautiful sunset in the background. I think
the music. Yeah, I think the music.
Yeah, the music. I think the music's great. I don't think there's enough of it. I think that you hear the same songs a lot. Like I think that each song, like the loop isn't quite long enough, and then the fact that they'll reuse the same song over like 6 levels.
Are you talking about
yeah, all of them.
I heard that one so many times.
Yeah, and then some of the sound
that is my
effects,
favorite one though.
Some of the sound effects are quite like hard. I mean, obviously, like Mario crying is obviously awful, but I guess it's kind of meant to be stressful, so I guess it kind of fits in. But even like there's a one where those like chain chomp things, that like launch him from the background and like eat through.
Great.
Like they're really cool, but I felt like their sound was they sounded so horrible. Like there was a few specific sound effects that I don't know, almost sounded like, I don't know if they're too loud or just too like distorted. They just sounded like they sounded old, I guess, compared to like the rest of the game.
The Mario crying is like nails on a chalkboard.
It's awful, isn't it?
When I was replaying, I would do the rewind just to not hear that sound. Like if even if I had 30 seconds and I could easily get him back, it was like, just stop it. Just stop.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that the whole baby thing. Because I was like, this is a really good idea because it means you don't die straight away. But actually, I feel like dying straight away is less stressful. Because like you're constantly like trying to get the baby back, and like when you get hit, you like phase, so enemies just go through you. But then when you get Mario back, you don't. So if you jump and get him and then land on an enemy, you'll instantly lose him again. So when you're like, you've only got 10 seconds, and I guess this is kind of the point, but like the scrabbling to get him back is actually more stressful than just dying and going back to the beginning of the level.
I mean, that's intentional though, right? Like that's by design.
I think they were designing it so that there's no timer. It's a lot harder to die in theory, but actually in practice, it's really stressful to get hit because of the crying and
you can throw your egg to like drop him down.
Oh yeah, I know. But like, I thought the game was designed that it was meant
He only
to be,
rewound
like,
twice.
easier.
I think he knows.
Yeah,
Dude, I rewound like 10 times per level. Like, I'd be like, I'd jump to platform, miss, whoop, and then like I'd rewind, but not far enough, and then I'd like do it again. Like, it just rewind to where I'm already falling. Like, honestly, like anyone watching this gameplay, you're gonna see most of this gameplay is gonna be going backwards rather than forwards with the amount I rewound. I had no patience for it. Like, I mean, it's because I chose. It's like modern games now. You have accessibility options. You know, you could play. You mentioned earlier, like Celeste, and you could give yourself extra jumps or make you invincible. And it's like that's the way you want to experience through the game. I realized for me, like, I just loved being in this world. You know, despite it being repetitive, I like the music. I love, as you said, Stacey, I wanted to see what the next world's going to look like in the background. I was desperate to get to the bosses. You know, I never rewound in the bosses. They were sacred to me, and I knew if I like played through like an area and didn't get a checkpoint for a while and died, I know I'd have more fun rewinding than playing through that area again. Like I was fine to take the hit and not do that again.
yeah, that's fair enough.
Sorry,
but
go ahead.
the baby, the whole baby thing. I thought it was meant to be to make it easier, but I might be wrong. I thought the whole point of the game was that it was a bit easier than a normal Mario game. But yeah, I feel like it's actually less stressful on your brain to just die in a Mario game, get put back to the beginning, than it is to like scrabble around trying to get the baby back when like the enemies are hitting you and like there's lava and it's like
and the crying.
Yeah, but did you ever see
crying.
when the clock would count down and then Kamek's little guys would come and actually take the baby? Didn't that just break your heart? Didn't you feel anything?
But sometimes they'd come down to get Mario, and you'll just get him in time, and you'll be like, "Yeah, you get out of here." Yeah, they all fly away again. And like, yeah, no, you don't. I also realize, like, so something that we do on the podcast sometimes is like we'll pick two games back to back. Like we'll play like, you know, we played Doom, like really old FPS, and then like Halo, we did two back to back to kind of compare them. And I realized we kind of accidentally did it here because we played two games in a row, which is about traveling a big distance carrying a baby, because we just did Death Stranding, which is like a very different game, but it's all about just carrying a baby across the land. So this is accidentally like similar, not really, but kind of in a funny way, themes.
We've kind of been like, we've learned to be fathers in the last month.
Any other questions from the community? You said there was quite a few. I don't know if we've covered what they were going to ask anyway.
There was favourite boss. One about the art. One of the best looking SNES games. This is from Galactic Gamer. One of the best looking SNES games. Crayon-like art style is still amazing today. The gameplay is also clever and a unique twist on what other platforms are doing at the time. A truly timeless gem. And I've read that out because I've got quite a good bit of trivia about the art.
Yeah, I mean, I think that intro animation is just so darling. It's just cute.
Yeah, the music is like the little bedtime music that it's playing as well.
And you got the stork flying.
Yeah. Although, why was he tied up at the end like that? That was weird. The way he was like hanging upside down. I was like, this has got dark very quickly.
And when they saw Mario, he span for like a minute straight.
Okay, so my trivia is that the artist who hand drew the animation for this game, this was his first job at Nintendo.
Wow.
And he hand drew it, and then they were like, no, we want it to look like Donkey Kong. 3D, and he was like, no, I'm actually going to draw it even more as like a rebellion against Nintendo. And that guy's job today is he is the creator and director of Splatoon.
Oh, really? He knows a thing or two about style.
Exactly.
I was going to say, and his job is cleaning every toilet in the building.
With his toothbrush. No, he's the director and maker of Splatoon. So
awesome. That's great.
He's worked his way up.
Deserves it.
Pretty cool.
Right, should we put it on the list?
Let's put it on the list.
Right, so Yoshi's Island is going to be number 24 on the list.
What?
No. No, it's the 24th edition.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you later.
That was quick.
Yeah. Right, where are we going to put this turd, eh? What we normally ask Stacy is, seeing as like this is probably one of the first times you've seen this list. Just looking down, is there any games that like stand out that you like, or ones that you think like, why is that there? It should be higher or lower.
Yeah, no, Undertale, very cool. And I've recently, not recently, like right during the pandemic, I started playing The Last of Us.
See, that's not a Stacy game. That's when someone says Stacy game, that's
Tough
not what
time
I think
for
of.
it as well. Pandemic,
Yeah,
not
but
good time for that.
I think you go, like I live in Utah, and I think part of it is in Utah a little bit. And I do like some zombies. I can get into zombies.
Do you have like a favorite zombie game, to go completely off topic?
Well, I mean, I played on my channel. I don't think the videos exist anymore, but I played the first Walking Dead Telltale game.
Yeah.
Which I thought was so good. I mean, there's all those like super cuts of YouTubers like crying to that game.
Yeah.
And I used to go to like Comic-Con and go to the like the panels with the creators of those games. And then of course we worked with Telltale.
Yeah, we were on one of those panels with them, which was cool.
Yeah, and I got to go to Telltale's studios in California, and so yeah, I like that one. I mean, looking at this list, hopefully Kai doesn't watch this episode, but I would imagine that Yoshi's Island has to rank above Ooblets. Okay. And you have that at number 9. So to me, it's like, if I lose, I was going to say, if I lose to Undertale, I'll understand. Because talking about another game that has fantastic music.
Oh, God, yeah.
That has great music. I'm not familiar with Mr. Driller Drilling.
Well, you're talking about good music. This is your homework, bro. This is like, didn't you say it's your favorite soundtrack for any game, Ollie? Is that right?
I think, it's unbelievable. The game is so simple. It's like Tetris, but you play as a little guy and you run around the grid. But for some reason, the music is like unbelievable. It's like fully orchestrated. There's like opera singers. There's like saxophone. It's kind of like on the level of Mario Kart 8. Like, it's like that good.
But you're like a little guy just digging down.
But you're just a little guy
Tetris
like digging. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I am optimistic that you guys will put Yoshi's Island somewhere great.
You really should get into politics, Stacy. You're very good at these answers. Right, Ollie then. So, serious business. So, Stacy can influence us, but at the end of the day, this is our list. We can do whatever we want. So, where if you were just deciding this was your list, where would you want it? Where would you want it to be?
Well, funnily enough, it's just a complete coincidence. I would put it exactly where Stacy said, which would be number 9, and Ooblets would move down to 10th. So one behind Mr. Driller, one above Ooblets, was where I thought about putting it.
Oh, you're such a sucker, Ollie. You're such a
No,
sucker.
I swear to God, I thought about it before we started recording. I was like, it's a Mario game. It's a good one. It might even be one of the best ones. Yoshi's a cool guy. It looks amazing. Number 9.
Okay, Mr. Driller looks cute. It looks kind of Powerpuff Girls-y.
Yeah, it's got that vibe. You should play it. It's on the Switch. It's probably pretty cheap.
It's really cheap. It's
but
just
I think Yoshi's Island, I mean, you're saying that you just look at one screen the whole time?
No, it's got twists.
It does the same thing as Yoshi's Island, where it only has 6 levels, but they're all like very different, but the same. It like twists the mechanic 6 times over.
It's set in like Disney World, but if it's Disney World, all about drills. So they're all rides that are related to drilling.
It looks like Candy Crush.
Oh,
come on.
We did a whole episode on it, Stacey. Listen to the episode.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Quickly now, and then come back and we'll finish this one. We'll wait.
I've actually played both, and I'd put Yoshi's Island.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Between Mr. Driller and Ooblets. So that's where I would put it.
Do you know what's mad? Is this game came out in like 1995. And when I'm like thinking about it and I'm comparing it to these games, I'm not even like thinking about it through that lens. Like, say when we put like Doom on the list, we're like, this game is so old. It influenced like every shooter that came out after it. Like it like basically created or popularized a new genre of games. But like comparing it to modern things, you're always like, yeah, well obviously it's old. But this game, like you don't need to do that. Like you can just compare it straight up to like modern like side-scrolling platformers, and it just holds up. And like the amount of just new ideas and creativity around in not even like, oh, this level has a cool idea. It's like within this one level they have one or two unique ideas that they might only use once and then they just never do
love
it
that,
again.
don't they? They just throw it away.
Yeah, but they don't do that on modern ones. It'll be like, here's a cool idea, we'll teach it to you in a safe environment, and then we'll do it like in a place where it's a bit more dangerous, and then we'll do like a twist with the idea, and then maybe mix that idea with a previous idea. Like that's kind of like their format that they do, and which is great and it works well. Like that's a smart way to do it. And this just doesn't do that. And this is just like, here's a really cool idea. No, here's a different idea. Oh no, yeah, here's this one. You're like, okay, wow. It's like almost overwhelming, but like it works.
So does that mean, are you saying
so
by
what does
that
it mean?
logic it should go over Doom? It should go in front of Doom?
No. It should. Sorry, it's not top 5 for me. But yeah, it can't. I think Undertale. That's the roadblock. I don't think it can go above Undertale. Which you agreed. You said that first, Stacy.
I have regrets.
I'm between. I think it should go above Ooblets. I'm whether it should go above Mr. Drillland.
Bear in mind,
Driller.
you said Mr. Driller. Multiple times you've said, oh, I would just describe Mr. Driller as a faultless game. You've said that quite a few times, so I feel like
I know,
maybe...
but like, say if someone like cooks me an amazing like meal, like they make an amazing pie from scratch, okay, with all these different flavors and stuff, But then say someone like gives me like a cashew nut, like the cashew nut is perfect, like there's nothing wrong with the cashew nut, but it's just like one ingredient, compared to like a whole full flavored meal. So like something not having faults doesn't make it better than something that has more and has more. You mean Yoshi's Island has more faults? As I say, I think the levels are uneven. I think you could trim maybe a quarter of the levels and make a better game, but that final third that's left, I think, is pretty amazing. And like and the fact that it's old, like we got to give a bit of weight to that. The fact that it was like. The fact that there was a trend of games and this is where they were going, and then like what you're saying about that artist and just the whole design team, and the fact they spent like 4 years making this for like, and it's featuring Yoshi, not Mario. Like it feels like even for Nintendo at that time, it's like a risk that they made this game, and then they pulled it off as a big success. So like over 4 million copies, which is crazy for like a game back in the day, and like it was rewarded.
You've moved away from the pie metaphor because you know it doesn't work. So have you ever over-seasoned? You ever like made food and you put so many ingredients in it doesn't taste of anything?
No, I'm just saying like you're comparing like Mr. Driller is an ingredient, Yoshi's Island's a meal. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, no.
Is this like the battle between Stacy's childhood favorite and Ollie's childhood favorite?
It's not my childhood favorite. I played it quite recently. It's quite new.
You played it in school. I remember you playing it on your phone in the playground. I remember I played it with you on your phone.
This version is the one.
Yeah, I know, but come on.
The other thing is, at the beginning of the episode, I said that Yoshi's Island was the oldest game we've ever done, and it's not, because Doom is right there, 1993.
God, you know what? That's kind of crazy, actually, that's 1993. Doom was so ahead of its time. That is mad.
Yeah, it was, yeah. I think it's fine between Mr. Driller... Mr. Driller, look, if Yoshi's Island was the perfect platformer, then yeah, I'd put it above it. But Mr. Driller is like probably the perfect puzzle game.
I mean, no, Tetris. Right?
It's pretty close to Tetris, though, isn't it? Also, they can both be perfect. Perfect at different things.
Okay. But you're like the perfect. So, okay. I mean, the thing is like I really like Yoshi's Island, and I really appreciate Yoshi's Island, but I don't have I don't have a passion for it like Stacy does, because I didn't play it when I was a kid. And I don't have the passion for Mr. Driller like you do. Like, my only time I played it seriously was recently, and like I thought it was great, and I thought it was really fun, but it's like I don't think about it.
But the fact that you, Joe, actually struggled with this game, like you play every game. It's infuriating to hang out with you at times because you're so good at every game. So like, I think that means that it was a really good game. Like, is Mr. Driller challenging gameplay? Yes,
Mr. Driller is extremely challenging.
Also, stop trying to butter him up. Like, that's not going to work. Like hanging out with you is inspiring because you're so...
No, it's not inspiring.
Infuriating was the word.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, infuriating.
From video games to
I was
even
worried
like
you were just going to stop talking at that point. You're hanging out with you is really infuriating. Can we put Yoshi's Island in front of it and just see whether that looks? Because maybe it won't look as disgusting as you think it does.
Also, if we had another Mario game, where would that go?
I mean, which Mario game?
Like Super Mario Bros. 3 or Mario World? Any of the ones prior to this one?
I think I don't know, because like I think Mario World is my favorite 2D Mario game.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Yoshi's Island's a bit more creative than it. Like, I know it came out later.
Is that because it go higher on the list?
So the thing is with Mario World, it's like it's got a pace. Like Yoshi's Island's quite slow, and like I enjoy the speed of Mario World. Did you play like the original Mario World much, Stacy?
Oh yeah.
And you prefer Yoshi's Island?
Yeah, I mean, just really comes down to like the artistic direction of the game. I feel like it was more. It wasn't just a good game. It was something that I was able to all these years later go, I'm so nostalgic for that art style, the music. It just really left such an impression on me. As like the other Mario games I'm nostalgic for, but it doesn't quite get me as much of like, it just didn't seem like as beautiful of a world.
Yeah. I guess for this, you could have a game, like a level that isn't a great level, but it's still nice just because of like the animations and like the music and just the art style. Like, whereas I feel like other Mario games, like it's all about the game design. And I think that
and
really
also
holds
I still think that Kamek's the best villain. I think he's like the best because he's a wizard who can do anything, and I think that that's just infinitely more like threatening than just like Wario or Bowser, just like a bad guy. It's like, oh, he's gonna cast a spell. Like, I think he was underused personally.
We also haven't mentioned you're gonna say the final boss.
No, I was gonna say that in terms of best villains, what about the weird 5 rabbits from Mario Odyssey? Do you remember them?
Yeah.
They look like they're from a mobile, like a European mobile
like wearing
game.
like dresses and stuff.
They were unused.
But the final boss was like, is it Bowser Jr. and he makes him massive, and that slow rise, and like the music gets all like MIDI guitar like rock. That was so good.
And then that was a hard, like, I remember being a kid and just like not understanding how to hit Bowser, because it was like a really interesting like perspective kind of
you're like throwing the eggs
mechanic
into the background for the first time.
they like arc as well, right? So you have to like
But once again, it's just it's still using, like, it's twisting it, but it's still the egg throwing mechanic. It's still like sticking to what you're being doing the whole time in the game. So this is I'm not saying this is how it's going to stay, but this is as it is right now, just for audio listeners. So at number 7, Undertale, at 8 is Yoshi's Island, and then 9, Mr. Driller, and then 10 would be Ooblets.
I'm actually more convinced that Yoshi's Island should be a number 8. When you said about the art, I was just thinking like about all the stuff we complained about, but actually the art is pretty amazing. The fact it still looks good now.
And Stacy just looked at Mr. Driller and was like, oh, like Candy Crush.
Unbelievable. That is... I mean, to be fair, that is Mr. Driller's problem. Like, it looks stupid, but it's so good.
I mean, the Powerpuff comparison was a compliment, just to be clear.
Yeah. It's a bit more flattering. So,
I
think
are you
I'm
actually happy with it in 8. Yeah, but are you, though? Because I liked it more than you, and I put it in 9. So...
no, I mean, I liked it above Mr. Driller. I mean, with Ooblets, a bit like I liked Ooblets more than you. Like, it's so weird because, like, neither of us, the list is exactly how we'd have it, but, like, without completely shifting around the middle of the list. I think a solid 8. I think that's pretty great.
Yeah? Should we leave it in 8?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. This feels good because I feel like so many of these times it's like we have a discussion and, like, someone wins the argument and someone's like, yeah, all right. But I feel like it's nicer that
you mean me.
Yeah. But you've changed you're in agreement, just both in agreement. You just took a while
we are both in agreement.
To get to that. So, so the list is, as I said, so we got Undertale at 7, Yoshi's Island at 8, and then 9, Mr. Driller Drillland, and then now at number 10, just about hanging on in the top 10, is Ooblets.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy recently because except for Beginner's Guide, I think like the last 5 episodes have all been in the top 10.
Yeah, they've completely transformed the top 10.
Yeah.
It's getting serious.
Getting serious, it is. It's
getting serious. Get to the big games. Anyway, thank you so much, Stacy, for joining us and bringing Yoshi's Island to our lives. Like, you hadn't played it before this, had you, Ollie? Was this your?
I actually played the classic Game Boy Advance, Game Girl Advance version.
Oh, really?
I played back in the day, but I didn't remember really any of it. So
I bet it's probably pretty different, I guess, maybe.
Well, one thing that it definitely had that this version didn't is Yoshi made a noise when he jumps. Like he would like make that little like groaning, like
all right,
like when he. And then I was playing this expecting to hear it, and he didn't do it. But apart from that, I don't remember anything else.
As I said, a completely different game. Where's the best place for people to check you out now, Stacy? Because we were kind of chatting a little bit before this about your plans for the future. We'll leave links down below to all of your stuff. But yeah, what's coming up?
Yeah, so the books are called Wild Rescuers, and then the new book is called Rescue Tales. I am on my Instagram. It's a very weird, I made the account in, you can't fault me. I don't remember what year it was, 2013 or something. So it's Stacy Grams.
Okay.
Until I change it.
I've got Ollie Graham.
You're Ollie Graham?
Yeah.
Well, that's equally lame.
No, it's not. It's cool. We're cool. We were cool. We were the originators.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna change it soon. But no, I am there quite a bit, and then I may be back on YouTube very soon. So Stacy Plays on YouTube.
Do you know playing what, or are you not?
Yeah, there's been a couple games that have come out recently that I a long time ago I would have played them like the very first day, but this time I'm kind of like holding off. So Stray, I really want to play Stray.
Yes. Was that because we nagged you the other day when we chatted and we had just finished it?
No, but yeah, you guys play a lot of games that like I never finished Ori and the Blind Forest, but Stray, there's another game called Endling that I want to check out. I'm trying to think of, I thought there was another, but yeah, no, I don't know. On YouTube, I've got a Minecraft series too that I'm sure will never die. Yeah. So.
Cool, awesome. Ollie, did you want to mention what we got coming up for future games in case anyone wants to play along?
Very quickly get the note.
We do this every single episode.
I know,
Ollie.
and I forget every time.
I'm joking.
Hang on. Okay, so next time we'll be playing Resident Evil Remake, which is available on like every console ever made, pretty much. Then after that, we have Beyond Good and Evil, which is November 4th. And then after that, we have Skyrim with a guest.
Yeah.
And should I stop there?
Well, we're pretty committed for December, right?
Well, it's Frog Awareness Month, isn't it?
Yeah, we're doing Frog Month in December, only frog-related games.
So our frog-related games, we got Frog Detective on December 2nd and Caro Blaster on December 16th.
Yeah.
So for Frog Awareness, yeah.
Yeah, no, and they're both very cheap games as well. So if anyone wants to get on the frog train, I want to go on a frog train. Then yeah, you can do that and play along.
I mean, I guess Yoshi's tongue is quite frog-like.
That's where the inspiration, I'd say. That's probably where it came from.
The inspiration for frogs came from Yoshi. Okay, anyway, though, that is going to be the end of this episode here. So yeah, new one of these every other Friday here on the Bonus Points on video and audio version. And apart from that, thank you all so much for watching or listening, and we'll see you all later. Bye.
Cheers, bye.